Strength. It's not just about lifting bars. It resides within every unique journey. This is To The Bar. Strength in every story. We're a community, a platform where stories meet strength. Our podcast is the result of our passion for weightlifting. From the first lift to the last, we're here to bring you the latest weightlifting news, to unravel the intricacies of the sport that will make you want to grab a barbell and hit the platform. This is To The Bar. Strength in every story. And now for today's show.
Again.
Right. Welcome to the bar.
Thank you. Welcome to the bar. I'm Aaron Holt.
And I'm Jess Roebuck-Slaney.
And welcome to day one of the British Masters in Bangor, Wales.
Yeah.
Not Northern Ireland.
Not Northern
Not
Ireland,
Northern
no.
Ireland.
Bangor, Wales.
Mistake last year. So we got a few things we guess we want to talk through. First of all, let's go through first day of lifting at the Masters. And it dawned on me that being M45, this is my last year of M45.
Yeah.
And I go into the M50s next year. And it dawned on me that when you get to a certain age, you know you're old as a Masters lifter when you have to come on a Friday and lift. I'm not there yet. And would I be next year?
No.
Oh, thank God for that.
No, you'll still be Saturday.
So I'm still young,
You're
but
alright,
I'm not
still
in the young group, which would be the Sundays, which are the 35s and
Yeah.
whippersnappers. But even more impressive are the people that we saw today. We weren't TOing. We managed to sort of skive off those duties, but we then got roped into doing a bit of loading. So we're aching. My back is very sore. But again, it's the whole part. Everyone pitches in. We had a great time. Did 3 sessions of loading. Fingers red raw, but it was awesome. And again, I think the people that we saw. So we came for, who was the first group we saw? It's the ladies.
So we got here about midday, right?
Yeah.
And we came in for the women's. It's got to be women's 60s.
Yeah.
I'll look whilst you ramble about what we saw.
So we saw them, and so Trish, who some of you may have seen already with the BWL, who have been doing a bit of a sort of a promotion part with the Masters lifters, a bit of a do a video piece with an amazing videographer, William from Express Media. And so that was great. So great seeing Trish on the platform. She absolutely smashed
65s.
65s. God,
Yeah,
that
so
makes
we
it even more
missed.
impressive.
Yeah, so the first group, sorry to interrupt, but just whilst we're talking about amazing lifters, the first group were the 70-75s. So we had George Travis from Triple X, who is...
Adam or
yeah,
Travis.
Adam, dad. 75, 61, bodyweight 70, age 75, bodyweight 61, yeah. It's incredible, really, isn't it? To still be slinging a bar around at that age. That's me.
It is incredible.
Yeah.
And we've got some of the videos as well that we're going to be putting on.
Yeah, I enjoy it. So the women's, last year when we got here just in time for it starting, I think, because we did see the men's 70, 75. But today, I sort of think the women's group is particularly inspiring for me because some of them were coming out and they were snatching nigh on their body weight at 60 plus, 65 plus.
Yeah.
So between 65 and 70 these women are. And,
Susie clean and jerking 47 there. And it was snappy as you like. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
I
think it's incredible. And it's less about what's on the bar. As much as I say, almost body weight, it's less about what's on the bar and more about the fact that they're still in a gym, they're still training, they're still turning up to competitions at that age. Weightlifting doesn't stop at seniors, does it?
Yeah, and I think it's great to see this sort of resurgence, but it's a continuation of the sport these days. You've got things like the Masters snooker, football, of course, is quite popular. Masters football. The tennis are doing it now.
Yeah.
So it's nice to see that there is a bit more focus on Masters lifters and that it's not just a case of as soon as you get past that sort of peak of when you're in late 20s 30s, that's it, you're done and dusted, you should hang up your boots or your what was you hanging up, lifters and antlers, and call it a day, because that's not what we're about. We want to keep on striving and pushing and challenging ourselves, so it's great to see those people doing it.
I had a great day. I think it's probably a good time to try and go back to what we talked about before in the sense of the difference between British Masters and British weightlifting, because obviously this is a British Masters competition, so it's in no way affiliated with British weightlifting. BWL haven't done any of the setup or put in any of the work for it. This is all the British Masters, really, isn't it?
Yeah. Bill Barton and Chris Baker.
Chris Baker,
and of course Dave from
Dave
Bangor,
from the
Bangor University, who's done an amazing job in setting it all up.
It looks great.
Yeah, and then of course we saw our very own sort of friend from Lower, from Jim, who did amazingly well. What did he, 5 from 6?
5 to 6, and I think he got a couple of PBs on the platform as well.
Yeah, and then of course Stuart, who came on, and we'll post those as well, because it's great to actually see someone split snatching and split cleans.
The splits. I love watching him snatch. He's so snappy.
Yeah. Seeing someone do it properly, and especially it shows that it just because your mobility starts to sort of taper off, for some people, that you shouldn't just stop. Yeah, adapt. Yeah.
I remember the first time I saw him. He was probably the first person I saw split snatch. I remember you saying, like, watch this guy, and me not knowing what to expect, and then I think that was here.
Was it?
It was at Bangor, yeah, and being completely taken aback by the split snatch.
Yeah.
And then for some reason still not expecting a split clean. So when he cleaned it and he split as well, and that still throws me now. Even though I know he's going to do it, I watch the clean and don't understand how he gets under it in the split, but he does it so well. I could watch him lift all day. And the fact that he just has fun.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, if you ever watch him, he's always
joking.
Playing the joker card. He's chatting to Bill or the speaker.
Yeah.
He came over to us whilst we were loading and said, "What am I doing again?" What's he just about to do? Because that was on the clean that he did. What's that?
It was the last one, 107.
107.
107 was his
Split
last one.
clean, and he came on all jokey.
Yeah.
Impressive.
And I can't remember what he snatched, but it was over 95, wasn't it? Because we put the greens on with the reds.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's a good lifter.
Yep.
We've seen quite a few good lifters again today, though, I think.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, no David Manning though this year, unfortunately, so no big which we always love seeing. Big crowd pleaser, but unfortunately no David this year.
No.
But no, it's been good. Looking forward to day 2 tomorrow.
My highlight would probably be Justine Howlett at the end. Yeah, she's so strong. I've got some videos of her as well.
That's impressive, wasn't it?
Yeah. I followed herself for all 6, didn't she? So all 3 snatch, all 3 clean and jerk. But yeah, it's just in the sense of being able to sit back and think, there's no age limit. You can still be progressing and enjoying yourself. It's just carrying on training and being dedicated to it. Yeah, I really enjoyed watching her lift. She lifted really well as well. Yeah. Which is nice.
Yeah, highlight. I don't know whether I have one. I enjoy watching Bryn, of course, coming on. He's very much a showman. And I think, one of the things on the Friday sessions are that, most people are travelling to get here for Friday night after work and such, and so it's the audience is quite sparse,
minimal, yeah.
And so Bryn coming out, trying to cheer people up, it's always good, and it gets people, especially after we just have come off the lower comp, which was every single lifter got a round of applause coming on and coming off the platform, so it was great. So to sort of try and to see that, trying to get that or emulate that today was it's tough when there's not that many people there, but I still managed to sort of get an atmosphere going, which is good. Yeah,
it was good for him. So yeah, we're here all weekend.
Yep.
And I'm trying to think who's on tomorrow. So tomorrow I've got it here. We've got men's 55s, men's 50s, women's 50s, 55s, 45s. So yeah, men and women from 40 to 55. It's going to be a long day.
Busy day.
Yeah, busy day. So we both ref him.
Yep.
We'll try and do some loading actually. Maybe. Although you get to coach for the first time.
Yes. So I've got Chloe, of course, Chloe Motion, and Mark Butcher, and Ike as well.
Yeah.
So it'll be busy.
Nice and exciting.
Send them all out super early. That'd be great.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
They're quite self-sufficient lifters anyway. But yeah, so long day. But hopefully, we'll do another update tomorrow on the day's proceedings. And it should be good. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Too. We've had quite a lot of competitions recently, haven't we? Or at least we're going into quite a lot of reffing. So last week we did the Lower Spring Open.
Yeah, it was interesting because I think it was advertised as a spring one, but I think he... so this is Mikey, of course, from Lower, the owner there. He's now looking at trying to make competition a little less daunting to his lifters, making them a lot more regular. So I think we're going to start seeing them maybe not monthly, maybe 6 weekly, something like that. Because it is, whenever we do, the questions to people, when's a good time to start as an athlete to get into competition, and everyone says as soon as possible. That do not make it something that it's not, and put it off. Wait until you think you're ready, because you're never going to be ready. And so I think doing that, making it a bit more regular, which is what Mikey seems to be doing, just takes that whole daunting aspect of it. Hopefully, takes it away from new people coming into it, and makes it a bit more. Certainly as an athlete, I've known throughout my lifting that if you can really tighten down your routine, your pre-match nutrition, your warm up weights and things like that, get your routine nailed down and do that. Every single time you go into comp, it just becomes routine. Yeah. It makes it a lot easier.
I think that's something Mikey does really well, though, in terms of the lower comps, because every time I go there, I see new lifters. So he's certainly able to pull in or appeal to the newer lifters.
Yeah.
I mean, the one we just did, there was the powerlifting couple there, weren't they? They were fantastic. They were so I can't remember their names, but Coggles. Yeah. Coggles something or other. He was a GB coach for powerlifting. It was great watching the move anyway.
Yeah.
But there's always somebody there that I don't recognise from anywhere else, and I've got a general eye for people that we've seen, somewhere in the weightlifting world. But they definitely seem to be more accessible. Those sort of inner London comps that ran a little bit more frequently, and that one last week was great, wasn't it? I really enjoyed that. The atmosphere and the running of it was really well done. Yeah,
I think I've said that. I don't think I've known a comp that every single lifter was clapped on, clapped off. It was no dead silences. Everyone was really behind the lifters. Yeah. It was a great atmosphere. It really was a great atmosphere.
I like those smaller comps where the music stays on as well. Yeah. I don't know if that's just me. I know some lifters don't like. In fact, I was talking to a lifter, Mario. He was saying that he prefers it. He likes it when it goes quiet and everybody goes silent and he zones in. And I'm glad that works for him. But no, I just want them. Yeah, I quite like the music staying on and it's still having a little bit of a hustle and bustle about it. I enjoy that.
So when we train obviously together, you like Cotton Eye Joe, don't you?
Oh, fuck off. If Tom puts Cotton Eye Joe on one more time, honestly, that's a direct message to Tom Story to stop putting Cotton Eye Joe on in the gym. But yeah, so we did Lower, and now obviously we're doing the British Masters, and then what have we got next? So they're currently doing, or they're just finishing with BWL. They're doing the Armed Forces versus Home Nations, aren't they? Yeah, which is exciting.
Quick one on that, I guess, because there's been lots of posts from BWL about this sort of playing off against each other. So the Home Nations, whether it be England
Scotland
Lions
versus the England Rose or England Lions, or
which is great, and it's something I've been crying out for many years. And as soon as you sort of come into the sport as well, that it's like why is it just a single person going into a comp and competing against just their weight or age group? It just seems pointless. Why not make it a bit more club versus club or nation versus nation? It makes it a bit more exciting.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. And I was talking to Victoria Mann earlier about Atticus and how we wanted to start running our own comps there. But then also maybe this idea that you sort of support each other, right, with the small clubs. So if we put on an open and athletes from, say, London Strength or lower, they come to us and then they put on an open and we take our athletes there. It would be good if you could have that, but then also a little bit of a competitive edge. So it was sort of like us versus London Strength in that sense of club v club cup.
Yep.
I
Who
like
takes
that.
the cup home at the end of the night?
Yeah, it just adds more layers to the sport, doesn't it? Because we spend a lot of our time, all of us, even when you're training with other people, it's a lone sport. And I think that sort of cup aspect really makes it more team-based. And I love that line I say all the time for Atticus is we win as a team.
Yeah.
I think that really drives people, even as an individual within a sport. Being able to represent a team or fight for a team gives you a little bit more. I like that.
Yeah, and obviously we're here at the British Masters, and I know that whenever I've been to, the Europeans of the Worlds, whenever you go and go to those events, the British sort of Masters teams don't really mix, or there's not a big contingency that goes, whereas the Nordics, you see the likes of the Swedish or the Danish teams coming, sort of going there, and they're all sat together. They're all there for a longer period of time.
Yeah.
They're all there supporting. It's more of a team,
And I think the keyword there is team.
Yeah,
isn't
and
it?
I think that probably stems from this fact that we're so separate. We're all individuals at the moment. So hopefully this will really gel us together and be a bit more team orientated.
Yeah, it's a bit more forward thinking.
Yeah.
So we've got that one happening right now. That's overlapping slightly with the British Masters. So then next week we've got books.
Which is going to be amazing.
I'm really looking forward to books. This might be one of my favourites.
Yeah.
I say that about them all, but I do like books because it's all the young kids that've just got no fear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's so funny when you listen to the coaches chatting away, and they've got their plan. They go out and they're telling their lifters to stick to these weights, and they come off having done their opener, and they're buzzing, and it's like, right, just whack another 20 kilos on, and the coach is like, just sit down and shut up, stay away from the marshal's table. So they're super enthusiastic, and it's going to be great.
Yeah, I enjoy books. So books was here last year. It was in Bangor, and so next week it's going to be at Brunel, which is nice. A bit more local for us instead of driving for 5.5 hours to get here again. So we've got that one, and then maybe that's it for now.
Yeah.
The next, that's it for now. I think we've got a couple with London Strength coming up, but it feels like we're sort of going back into comp season, which is nice.
Yeah. I just wish they'd spread them out a bit.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah. Goes back to my comp calendar thing.
Yeah, it does go back to comp calendar, but you start adding in cup comps in amongst all of that as well, and all of a sudden you've got comps every weekend, right? Which is another reason to try and get more TOs in.
What were you saying as well? We were talking about the sort of the multiple amounts of different comps that we've got at the moment. But you sort of mentioned that it, for those that don't manage to qualify for things like the British or the English, this also then fills that gap as well for those. It gives people that aren't at that standard yet, haven't got those qualifying numbers yet, that they can actually reach.
I think it just
qualifying
adds,
for those sort of comps.
Yeah, it just adds more layers. So I think at the minute the sport feels, as somebody that's relatively new into the sport, it's quite polarised. So it's almost like if you want to compete on a BWL platform, you need to be top level senior, it feels like to me. Otherwise, you're on a tier 3, which is great. There's no problem with that. But that feels like you're too elements to the sport unless you're just training in the gym. So having either this idea of, you know, that you brought up with the league, and this idea that a club chucks in one masters male, female, one senior male, female, whatever, and you have a team that represents you, or that you represent your club in a cup or something like that. I think that just adds more layers for me, so that the people that aren't going to go to the British Championships or the English have got stages to go through and things that might keep them. Some people might prefer competing for a team than they do competing for themselves.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like the idea of varying it a little bit like that, just to add a bit more dynamic.
Mm-hmm. Yep, true.
Yeah, it's sort of endless as well, because you could easily then split it up and do north v south.
I really want that.
Yeah, there's lots of options when you start looking at leagues and cups. You can have multiple different, which means lifters could compete across as many or as few as they like.
Yeah, I mean, well, rugby, when I was a kid, it would be county, then you'd have, you know, Southwest, Midlands, and all these sort of, and then, then nationals. So, yeah, it made it a bit
Lots
more...
of opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good way to go.
Yeah. Right, I'm just going to go get a glass of water. Back in a minute. Right,
back.
Thank you very much. You look different.
No changes. No continuity errors here.
So, what are we going to talk about now?
I think we are going to very quickly touch on the World Cup.
Yes. In Phuket,
Yeah.
in Thailand, which looked pretty amazing. Well, the crowds, not so much.
Yeah, not as much as the European champs. Certainly not as much as in Armenia, right? I mean, there was a good crowd in there. Yeah. I've got a comment on those little white things they put on the chairs. I don't know why they annoy me so much, but they do.
Yeah, they are.
The
It's
little white
like
covers.
a wedding venue every single time, isn't it? Sorry,
Odd.
the cushions in the way.
It's your own fault for moving. You stayed exactly still like I did.
Lazy.
So yeah, it was the last qualification comp of the quad. So that means we have now got our top 10 for Paris, and we can start to try and think about who we might be seeing on the platform when we get out there.
Yes, so a recap on the way that the Olympics is working, or for weightlifting, of course. They've really restricted, I think, for, you know, I don't know whether it's obvious reasons, whether it's sort of the doping part, but also maybe the schedule. They've narrowed it, or really sort of tightened it down to minimise the weight classes, reduce the amount of numbers, reduce the amount of numbers that countries can actually take. So remind me again of that.
So I think we're at 5 weight categories per gender, so that's 10 overall.
Yeah.
120 athletes, 20 of which are sort of separate to your regular qualification because they're either home nation or host nation athletes.
Automatic
So
spots,
France, I think they have 4 automatic spots, and then you've got some universality and international quota spots basically for representation. So 20 of those are taken out straight away, which leaves us with 100 spots that can be competitively sought after across the 10 categories, so 10 per category.
Yep.
Obviously, each nation can only have 1 per bodyweight category, but then overall they can only take 3 females and 3 males, so 6. So if you think about China, for example, they might well have somebody who's qualified in the top 10 across all 10 categories, but they can only take 6 athletes to Paris.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, pretty intense.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, so for the smaller nations, like us, it's a bit easier to sort of count.
Yeah.
But as you say, with the likes of China, Georgia to a certain extent, they've got a few people.
Yeah.
But USA, of course, very competitive.
Team USA, yeah.
But yeah, I mean that's hard.
Yeah, it's got to be hard being an athlete, I think, and going through that. I mean, it's been a pretty grueling qualification period. When you look at the scoreboards and even just the way the athletes are talking about it online, you can see that it's been hard for them. So the fact that you could do all of that work and still not get selected is pretty tough.
Heartbreaking.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I thought I would go through, have a look at the different weight classes in the men's and the women's, and I'm looking at my list of things, really. And I think you touched on it then, and that's the Chinese. I think they're the obvious ones. So for the men, it's, there's the obvious ones. So Lee Fabian in the 61 class, and the amazing Hunter Morris from USA. He's great, isn't he?
I love that people are calling him Champton. I think that's great.
Awesome. Yeah. Young still, isn't he?
I think
broke a junior record or something.
Yeah, so he's still a junior, or maybe he's just come out of juniors, I'm not sure. But I say this to you every time, but I love watching his training videos because he's in like a Globo gym. It's like a pure gym, just cracking on. They have not even bumper plates. You know those crap plastic bumper plates they have in pure gym here?
Twice the size of normal ones.
Yeah, but the fact that he manages to achieve all of that while just knocking on next to somebody doing a bench press, I think is really talent, It's either talent or it's a lot of hard work to get him to be as well performing as he is. He's nice to watch.
Yeah. And of course the Italian Sergio Macida in there as well, who's a joy to watch. So there's obviously one spot for the Chinese. Then the 73, so that was watching the group there, that was exhilarating but heartbreaking.
Yeah.
We've seen Ramet, who's been top of the game and top of the pile there for some time.
I'm so sad that we won't see him in Paris.
Yeah.
He just always seems to really enjoy himself on the platform. I think he's one of those that just doesn't seem to take himself too seriously, and he's flexing when he comes off. But watching him miss that jerk broke my heart.
Mm.
Real
shame.
Yeah.
But Shizhu Young there, of course, is in that group who's made his successful comeback, and I like watching him lift. But would you take him? You got the 3 spots, so I think that's a doubt straight away. He's not top of the pile by a long shot. So he's competitive, but podium style, but not top of the pile. 89s, Lee Dayan, and of course Carlos Nazir.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a great group to watch.
The 19-year-old that's not 19.
Yeah. I think I'd probably take Lee Dayan over.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The 102s, of course, then the other spot I would probably give is to the other Chinese lifter, Huan Hua, who is just obliterating that group at the moment, or that weight class. And then, so that's your 3, really. So Li Feibin, Li Dayan, and Huan Hua in the 102s. Which is, poor Shizhu Young. There's no place for him, but that's the way you got to do it.
Yeah.
102s, of course, Lasher, and Minison, and a few others choosing not to lift.
Yeah, so I wanted to talk about this actually with Lasher. I really want to see him in Paris, but I've got this nagging feeling that we just won't.
Yeah.
I don't know why. But yeah, it's interesting that he chose not to lift, but then I suppose quite a few athletes chose not to lift in this last qualifying comp because their position was already secure. So I suppose why would you when August is 118 days away before the comp starts or something like that? It's not a lot of time really between the last qualifier and your peak performance, Olympics, getting on the platform. So
and his swan song farewell type thing.
His last one. So if he has got a bit of a dodgy knee, maybe it was the right thing to just turn up and weigh in, but it is a shame.
And then moving swiftly on to the women, and this is where the Chinese have a massive problem because they are top of the board across all weight categories. So we've got so the categories, of course, are 49, 59, 71, 81, and 81 plus. And they're by a fair stretch, they're sort of top of the pile. So we have
women are insane though.
Well, I was just going to say. So the insanely impressive Hu Jiwei, who she's just outrageous, isn't she?
She's the one that you showed me earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't even think about her because she makes me feel very weak.
Well, she clean and
She's
jerked.
so small.
Yeah, clean and jerked 120 in Phuket, which is just under 2.5 times her body weight.
Jesus.
And 2.5 times.
That's something, isn't it?
Yeah.
2.5 times.
And I'll always say this: I find that category, the sort of the lighter weights, the Leaf Haven, that sort of weight, much more impressive for me.
Yes,
I'd rather watch them than the Lashers. Yeah, it's impressive shifting 270 odd kilos as a clean and jerk for Lasher, but for me, that's more impressive.
Yeah.
I enjoy watching those.
I think this is why I like Jordan Dela Cruz from USA, because she's small, but it's the efficiency. It's the moving. So I mean, you've obviously got to have that base level of strength to be able to stand that back up or move with it. Even with the snatch, they've got to recover from the overhead squat. But getting under it, it's the efficiency to be able to move that rapidly that I just love watching. But yeah.
So we've got her, which is a guarantee. You've got to take her. Then the 59's Lo Shifang, who seems to be going, but also someone that I saw at the Commonwealth many moons ago, back in when it was at Birmingham, was Maud Charon from Canada.
Oh I really like her as a lifter. Yeah.
And she's vying for a podium, which is great. So she's really competitive. So hopefully we'll see her do well there. 71s. So this is where I think they might ditch one of the lifters from China.
I'm excited for this category.
Yeah, and so this, of course, is Olivia Reeves, and Toma, and the Ecuadorian.
Yeah, I mean, I love Toma. I've always enjoyed watching Toma lift, just for the snappy arms. Like, I know a lot of people don't like her, but she's just so intentional when she moves. I enjoy it. But I might be more excited to see Olivia Reeves, to be honest. Watching her this year has been something really special. I would like her to share her squat program with me, because the legs, I just don't get it. She's so I'm excited for this group.
Woman.
Really excited.
81s, another Chinese lifter who's miles ahead. Lo Shifang, but maybe another one that's going to be sort of benched, as it were, with Lo Shifang.
And whilst we're on the 81s, obviously we have to sort of touch on the fact, because I've talked about her all the way through, how much I wanted to see Matty. And obviously she's not going now. But still turned up.
Yes.
In Thailand.
And I guess, was that more as there's a 1% chance that she might...
It's the only thing I can think is, obviously she's injured, she's got some kind of nerve issue going on in her hips. It doesn't seem like that's something that's going to be resolved in time to be on the platform in August and peaking. But I suppose by turning up and weighing in, she kept her options open, that if Mary didn't qualify, or if, Kate Vibert didn't. So she kept the option there that if Team USA had 5 lifters and the 6th spot was free and she qualified, she could have taken. Maybe she could have just turned up and weighed in at the Olympics, I don't know. But I suppose it makes sense if you've put all that much work in to keep your options open, but I can only imagine. There's a shot of her, I can't remember which media person took the shot, but
so when they're in the lineup,
where she's in the lineup and she looks devastated. All her personal social media, she seemed fine, but that one shot, she did look pretty heartbroken. So, yeah, it's interesting.
Just like me yesterday when I had to stand in for one of the lifters in the lineup. I couldn't lift.
Just a little bit sad.
Exactly
it's the absolute same situation, Aaron, yes.
And then, so we then go on to the 81s. And of course, Li Wenwen, who is just...
she's some kind of beast. What is that?
Insane.
I've just never seen anything like it. It was her that we saw do the 300, well, maybe it wasn't 300 kilo, I can't remember. But the ridiculous squat.
Oh, the squats.
Yeah, it made my eyes water just watching her.
Yeah, powerful.
But yeah, this category is obviously going to be pretty incredible for us to see in Paris, because we're going to have Emily Campbell there.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Medal hope.
Yeah, good for her. I'm really, really excited to see her get to
She didn't lift again for the...
No, she didn't
Thailand,
lift either. Again, makes perfect sense, because she's all the way up the top of the group, really. What is she, 3rd? She's doing really well. So why would you waste the energy? Why would you use it? I mean, unless you were just going to go and take it as a training session and just...
Yeah, I suppose mid-block, you know.
Why put the pressure on yourself? I watched a lot of her training videos while she was out there. It looks like she was just sort of having fun with her friends, socialising. Why not?
Yeah.
But it's exciting for her. So obviously she's our only GB lifter that will be going to Paris. But we did have, you know, a couple more that were going through the qualification process. But, I mean, I don't know about you, but it feels like this has been pretty gruelling for them.
Yeah.
I mean, when you look at the scoreboards or the amount of bomb outs, injuries, it's been pretty intense.
Yeah, I can't remember what episode we did, but I remember saying, you know, sort of, I don't know whether we
Yeah,
showed
it
it,
was
but
a
it
while
was
back.
just
All
a
red.
bloodbath of red, wasn't it?
Yeah.
On quite a lot of the scorecards, and it's the same this time
Yeah,
round.
with the World Cup's the same. So, yeah, there's something about the way they've done it. I mean, I refreshed myself this morning and sort of think the 4 IWF comps that were within the 7 qualification period were every 3 months. This was June, September, December, and then March. It's quite close together to expect people to be able to peak. And then I suppose the fact that it's the top total, so it's not a combined consistent effort across the qualification period. You know, you turn up, you're a clean lifter, you do your best every time, and we put everything together. It's a one total beats all. Sort of means that if you were down the bottom really trying to get into that top 10, you might have had to have really given it your all every single time to try and get 1 kilo better, 2 kilos better than the time before.
Yeah.
It's hard. That's got to be really hard when you're an elite athlete to be peaking like that.
Yeah, and then, you know, not only that, but you're then competing against the spots that your national body has been allocated. So, you know, we've seen, you know, the likes of with the American lifters for the females dropping down weight classes or moving up.
Yeah, Kate Barbert to get away from Olivia Reeves. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, you know, you're having to compete against teammates.
Yeah.
So it makes it really difficult on them.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been interesting and a little bit sad. Like, again, when we talk about... did you say his name? Ramat?
Ramat,
yeah. Yeah, it's sad. Anti-Antau, you know. Yeah.
Yeah, that was... Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
a bit sad.
I didn't want to mention that, but yeah, he's... yeah, you know, he's sort of... The way he bowed out, it was very graceful. I can't talk about it.
Oh.
But no.
Yeah, it's sad. I
He's
think
done
it's been difficult for them. So, I think for those that have made it to the platform, they deserve that little extra pat on the back. I think for getting through it all, that should be a win. The fact that they've sort of survived it, really.
I wonder if they'll take anything from it and change the way they qualify,
I
and
hope so.
hopefully increase the numbers again. Because it's been announced that it's at LA in 4 years' time.
Yeah.
So fingers crossed the IOC will increase the number count, maybe increase the categories again.
Yeah. And then hopefully the IWF... I mean, you've got to try new things, right? So I don't know that it's necessarily a criticism of the IWF to say, I don't particularly think that this qualification structure has worked. But I can see why they did it in the sense of really offering that assurance that the lifters they were going to send are clean. So maybe it's just learning, and it's sad that it's come at the expense of some really great lifters, but hopefully lifters in the future will benefit from that sort of sacrifice, if you like, in the sense that we'll have something a little bit better. But yeah. So yeah, and then we absolutely did just get a drink and then come back here, so it's still Friday technically. But
still Friday technically.
with it now being Saturday morning, we are back off to the Masters again today. So
looking forward to that. Busy day.
Yeah.
Reffing, coaching.
Yeah.
Hopefully not loading. My back can't take that again.
Lord,
my knees, honestly, they creak.
I might do some loading just to get my hips moving again. But yeah, so we've got, I mean, there's 6 groups across today, right? Because there's 40, 45, 50 for the men and the women.
Yeah.
We've got Chloe, Ike, Mark. Can't think of anybody else off the top of my head that we personally know, like from our club.
Russell Turner from who is Cave Fitness. One of my good buddies who are also sort of we're normally in the dorm up rooms. He's in the 89s. Well, I'm in the 80. I'm actually pushing 102 plus at the moment. I need to get back on that diet. But I'm normally in the 81. So it's always great fun sitting next to him, warming up when he's in the 89s. So good to see him as well. So we're back to, I don't actually, I'm going to have to ask Dave Jones today what his club is called, because it's Welsh, isn't it? And I can't pronounce it. So we're going back to Dave Jones's club today for the Masters, and looking forward to it. So we'll probably check back in the exact same outfit and the exact same seats later and do a summary of how the day's gone. Awesome. Catch you later.
You've been listening to the Bar, Strength in Every Story. Thanks so much for listening. We're so happy to have you as a member of our community. We have a passion for weightlifting, but we also have an insatiable curiosity about everyone's story. We hope you've enjoyed the show. If you did, make sure to like, rate, and review. And we'll be back soon. But in the meantime, find us on Instagram at _2_thebar. And be sure to hit the website at 2-thebar.com. See you next time on To The Bar. And remember, there's strength in every story.